Welcome to the Bobby Carpenter Show on this big Thursday, and always privileged when we get to have some awesome guests and get to have a very special one in running backs coach at Ohio State. Carlos Locklyn is going to be joining us shortly. You'll get this slides. We have Matt Patricia, we've got James on Heartline. We had on Tim Walton. Try to get Guerreri, try to get Tebow. We got him back. We got Coach Locklyn here ready to go. He's actually joining us from up in Canada right now. I'm guessing, Coach, a guy from Montgomery, Alabama. If you're going up there, you got to be going up there to do some fishing.
Nah, not fishing. I like water. I want to see Niagara Falls, and I love people, so I got a chance to interact with a lot of people. Actually, it's a lot of Buckeye fans up here in Canada. It's ridiculous. I mean, it's a ton. I heard OH everywhere I went, or Go Bucks. I'm for real. Like, it's a ton of fans up here.
Hey, Coach, thanks for joining us. And, we were talking before, and we already had guys. I apologize because Coach Locke and I were already talking with like 10 minutes of content. So you told us that you fell in love with the game at 3 years old. Tell us about that passion for football, because you're up there. Your wife's giving you a hard time because you're always working, but you love what you do. Tell everybody about like that love and that passion for the game of football and young people.
I mean, it's always been my first love. My wife tells everybody that. I mean, my Uncle Ray, it'll be 4 years that he passed and left me July 4th, but he introduced me to the game, and I fell in love with the Dallas Cowboys and Tony Dorsett, and I just been in love with the game ever since. It's always been a part of my life. It helped me through a lot of things, got me through high school, college, because just my love for the game. I always wanted to be around and I always wanted to play.
So, Coach, you speak about always getting into it, and people always have these interesting paths and journeys. And a lot of times, guys, they play in college, they get right into GA, they're the intern or whatever. You played running back at Chattanooga, very talented player there. You get into criminal justice. I mean, and correct me, just tell me kind of your story after you got out of college, what you did. I know you coached high school a little bit before coming into Memphis, and how that whole transition went.
Well, we all have plans, to try to get to the NFL. And I was fortunate enough to get the opportunity, but I went there to the Giants, and the doctor that told me that I was gonna have hip problems, he's still there. I think his name is Ronnie Barnes.
So hold up, Coach. I got to tell you, so my dad played running back for the Giants. Ronnie's like one of his best friends. He's been there for like 45 years. So I can't wait to tell him, give him hell, because he's a good guy.
Yeah, that's the guy who told me I was going to have hip problems, and I wasn't able to sign my contract when I got there in the spring of 2000. I always tell people, man, that God has different paths to people's lives. So I went on from there and tried to work out for a few more teams. I ended up playing arena football. They just get football out my system. And after that, I went in law enforcement. I had a fiance, trying to get married, and we ended up having twins. So I had to get a job. So I actually started off working in corrections, man, working in the jails, and I did that for a little while. Then I moved to the streets. I became a police officer over there in South Haven, Mississippi, which is a neighboring city next to Memphis. I did that for a while. Then ended up getting on this government contract that I can't really even talk about, but I did that for a long time, and that right there opened the doors for me to start coaching high school football there in Memphis, because I had the time to do it in the evening. In 2009, I went straight to being an offensive coordinator at this high school called Tresman High School, which is in North Memphis. I was there for 1 year, and then I went to another high school, Westwood High School. I was there for 2 years as an OC, and I became the defensive coordinator there for a year. And then I went to another school in Memphis, in North Memphis, called Manassas. I was there for 3 years. Probably had my greatest joy coaching those kids there in that area. And then my final school was Cordova High School. It was a 6A school. I was there for 2 years. All through those years of me coaching high school ball, those schools I went to, I always got them in the playoffs. But those kids had such a lasting impact on my life. Because these right here, these weren't your private schools in Memphis. These your inner city schools. And I remember the days of picking kids up, ordering food for them off of the dollar menu, working overtime, not to take care of my kids, but to make sure I had extra money so I can maybe buy cleats, buy gloves. Maybe if I had to pay insurance for a kid because his family couldn't afford it, or I had to order off the McDonald's or Wendy's menu at that time to feed them after practice. So I would work overtime at my job so I could just have extra money. My wife didn't understand the path that God had me on then, but eventually, as this journey went on, I think she started to understand God was preparing me and molding me for what He was calling me to do.
Amen. Absolutely. We all have that journey. That's a great story. And I'll go with this. How did that background being an officer and then coaching high school athletes help you? And then that transition into recruiting and college coaching, especially now, this age and this demographic of athlete that you have now at Ohio State.
It taught me how to serve people. What was the most important thing? And you have people come from all walks, different walks of life. So it taught me how to serve people. When I was in the jail, interacting with those men who had made, have made mistakes along the way in their life, it taught me the things that, okay, how could you help guys or young men who are going to come up in this situation? How can you pour into their lives? And I was able to do that through football. And me being able to, I remember Tyson Hill, who gave me my first opportunity as an on-the-field coach there at Western Kentucky. He asked me how would I handle my own room. I laughed. I said I had a pod of 51 inmates. I think I'll be all right with a couple young men. But me working in law enforcement, working in jail, it just taught me how to serve people. What's the most important? I think we lose that sometimes as college football coaches because everybody's so caught up in winning recruiting battles. I tell people I'm trying to win wars. I'm trying to save lives through football. So, I never get caught up in it. Like me and Bubby talked one day in the weight room. I'm like, man, I don't get caught up in that stuff. I'm a coach who they send me, I can coach. I can develop not just running backs, but I can develop men. So that helped me along the way working in law enforcement to be able to pour into people, not just the players, but just the coaches around. I tell people all the time, my number one job at The Ohio State is this right here, to make sure that Ryan Day is successful, that he's the most successful head football coach in all of football, not just college. That's my number one goal. And my next goal is after that to make sure guys like Brian Hartline, Matt Patricia, the other coaches that I coach with, make sure that they are able to reach their goals. Because my goals already been met. God has blessed me with the opportunity to coach and pour into people's lives. So that's what excites me about just coaching at The Ohio State as well.
So your transition from high school to college, if I remember correctly, I mean, you were working. You talked about you have this government contract. It allows you to have some time. You start coaching in high school, and then you make the jump to college, and you're going there like you're coming straight from work. I think I'd read like you're wearing your gear in, from law enforcement, walking in, like volunteering in the weight room, and people talk about love for the game. I mean, that to me is love for the game. How were you able to kind of get in at Memphis, and what was your pitch, and then how did you manage that time?
I'm gonna tell you something. The whole time that I was coaching high school football, and my wife now, she's like the ultimate football fan now. She tries to help me recruit. I think she watches, but not do. But that whole time, I tell people all the time, you show me your sacrifice, I'll show you God's blessing. I sacrifice a lot. It's hard on when you're a football coach because your kids miss a lot of time with you because you're pouring into other kids. But I actually sent out a DM on Twitter to a guy by the name of, he's a friend now, Josh Storms, who's now he's a head strength and conditioning coach at Florida State. Josh is like family for me now. So I sent out a DM to him, asking just to talk to me. I had just got done with my last year of coaching high school ball. I was an OC at Cordova High School. We had just went 12-2, got put out in the semifinals to the eventual state champ. And I told my wife, I said, God told me I'm gonna coach college football. And my wife looked at me and said, well, you better get up and go to work because God gave me that memo. So I was like, okay. But I actually went over to Rhodes College at first, which is a liberal arts school. People don't know this, a D3 school there in Memphis. And I went over there and I was just trying to get an interview with the staff and just trying to get into college coaching. I was willing to do anything. I was like, I'll go D3. I just wanted to coach ball, have an opportunity to coach college. And they told me I didn't have enough experience. They didn't hear my story about like I had played college. I went to the NFL short-lived and I played arena football. But I tell people all the time, at that particular time, I think God was telling me I was thinking too small. And I DM'd Josh Storm in a 10-minute conversation is the reason why I sit where I'm at now. He listened to me. He said, I want to help you. He said, I love your passion. And I started off at Memphis. He gave me my own rack in the weight room.
Nice.
And on that rack, it was 3 young men that forever changed my life. One name was Darrell Henderson, who was a Super Bowl winner with the Rams.
Yeah.
The other one name was Patrick Taylor, who's currently now with the 49ers. And the third guy who's currently with the Titans by the name of Tony Pollard. Those 3 young men were the ones that, coach, you're gonna be a big time running back coach one day, because they allowed me to pour into them, me being a former back, and that relationship took off. And guess what? I didn't have the title of running back coach at Memphis, but I tell kids all the time, titles are given. Just do the work. And I worked every day, and by me working every day, this guy, I guess he took a personal interest in me. I consider him family now. He's now the head coach down at Florida State. Mike Norvell took a personal interest, and Mike gave me my. I worked 2 years as a volunteer. The 3rd year, Mike made me direct the high school relations at Memphis, and eventually took me with him to Florida State. But I used to work 9:45 at night to 5:45 in the morning. I'll make a drive. It's like driving from Delaware to Columbus every day. I would make a 25, 30-minute drive to Memphis every day from Olive Branch, Mississippi. I'd be on time, get there some days at 6:25, 6:30. Change in the parking lot, sometimes change in the bathroom because I didn't have a locker. And I would be there at meetings. I would stay over there at Memphis anywhere between 6 and 7 hours, go home, sleep for 3 or 4 hours, and get back up and start the process all over again. I just wanted to coach ball and help out any way that I could. And Mike Norvell took notice of that. And that's where the turn to walk-on coach come from. I literally just walked over to Memphis and started coaching. I just started coaching. And I tell people all the time, I took something that was like really insignificant and made it significant. And it came from this. Mike Norvell wanted the coaches to, on 3rd down, to alert the team when it was 3rd down. And he had this thing they called cash down. And he asked the coaches to do it, GAs and all, but they really didn't. I took pride in it. I took pride in it and made it my own. And I think he took notice of that. And that's where that relationship it started from there. It took off from there. And like I said, I'm forever grateful for him and just what he helped me with and what he did for me. Because like I said, Coach Day have us reading this book now called Chalkwood Carry Water. And some stuck with me that I read in that book. It said, will you be faithful to the process and surrender the outcome? I'm telling you, man, I was faithful to the process. And I surrendered the outcome, and I just kept climbing. But those some long, hard days. But like I tell people all the time, you show me your sacrifice, I'll show you God's blessing. Nothing happens overnight. Vince Lombardi once said, the man on top of the mountain didn't fall there. And no, he didn't. He had to climb. And then, trust me, and I climbed toward where God was taking me.
I tell you what, I absolutely love it. People are in the chat on YouTube we love this man. He could still play football. He looks like a linebacker. I'm going to tell you, from day one, I just always have appreciated, and I always call it, a high GSF, give a shit factor. And you do, because it comes out. It's very evident how much you care, and you coach with that same passion. Like, you're sweating your face off, losing weight, coaching. That's part of your conditioning when you're out there with those guys, because you're serving them and you never stop thinking about what they're doing. Tell everybody about how you're feeling about this room. There's a little something that you and I were talking about earlier before the show started. Your room now going into 2025, when you had, and I tell you what, I say this, you were the perfect fit for these 2 young men coming together, and you had, great human. Trevion gets a call, hey, can we add Q into the room? And now you come in new, right, with this dynamic, a guy who is leading the SEC in rushing, a guy who's been at Ohio State, super talented, and they're 2nd-round draft picks, and you have that from last year and what they did in that duo, and now going into 2025. Tell us a little bit about your room.
I'm excited about the room. James Peoples, C.J. Donaldson, Sam William Dixon, Bo Jackson, Anthony Turbo Rogers, Isaiah West. I'm excited about all those young men because there's a bunch of unknown. This where the real coaching come out at. You having Trey and Q last year, they were household names. What people don't realize, I had a prior relationship with Trey and Q. I recruited Trey when I was down there at Florida State. And, of course, Q is from my hometown. I've been knowing him for a long time. But I'm excited about this particular room because it's unknown. These guys are really good players. They just don't have the household name. They haven't got the opportunity yet. I've seen some reports where what's my man that played down there at Georgia?
ATN?
No, Green.
Oh.
It might be David Green or it might be something else. I think they had Alton Sport man had a report where they ranked the top running back rooms. No, I'm a competitor now. I know. I know certain things we shouldn't read into, but look, I'm still a competitor. So I saw those things now, and I text CJ Dumpson early in the morning. I say, hey, be ready to work. We're going to serve it by this room still. This Ohio State. This place built on great running backs, and ain't nothing going to change. 2 left out, we got more coming. So we're going to work our butts off. But I challenge myself to be the best version of myself as a coach, but I also challenge my kids to be the best version of themselves. Like I tell people all the time, people laugh when I say this, my kids aren't soft, at all. And I believe that, if your player is soft, I truly believe this. Go look in the mirror. You soft. You're not coaching with enough passion. Like I absolutely love the running back position. Like I'm a historian when it's come to the position, and I'm passionate about it. But I coach my kids hard, and I train hard because guess what? I don't want them listening to some fat, out of shape guy telling them what to do, and I ain't willing to do it myself. So right now, I have my running backs making their beds up every morning because I heard Admiral McRae
yes,
Texas, and Coach Day had us, chop wood, carry water. I said, you know what? That'll be a chop wood, carry water moment if you're willing to do a little small task like that. So here I am on vacation, knowing that I got somebody else to make up my bed. I'm making my bed up. I send them a picture, and they do the same thing every morning. They send me a picture of them making their beds because, like I said, we're going to hold one another accountable. But I'm excited about these young men in this room because, like I said, they haven't had a chance to do it yet. But that's where the greatest coaching part come in, and you're able to mold and pour into these guys. And when it all comes to light, it's going to be something incredible.
And we all know you're up for that task. I want to follow up on that one because I appreciate you talking about your players are soft, you soft, because I love that. I'm the same way. You got to live it. It doesn't matter how old we are. I mean, we're going to be training because we got to be the physical presence for them. They see us working. The question is now in today's 2025, and you've seen this change, how do you keep preaching and motivating athletes that are so talented with one football in a limited amount of reps in that room? How do you do that?
Well, like I tell the kids, I learned this from one of my mentors. Number one, even when I got to Ohio State, I kicked everybody out. I kept Trey and Q in the room. I said, we're going to learn how to be one. It doesn't cost you anything to celebrate another man's success. And I had to learn that along my journey. I had to learn that because when I started coaching, I used to, like I said, I'm a competitor. I used to be kind of angry and upset with, some guys. I love when Coach Day said this. He said, I wasn't born on third base. And I tell people, I didn't start out on third base. I started out in the dugout. Some guys in the profession, they get dropped right into positions. I came in this profession when I was 40 years old. I'm about to be 48 this year. It's uncommon. But I went and started no other way. I didn't want to be placed on third base. I came from the dugout. I had to work my way around these bases to get to where I need to be at. So I told both of them, we're gonna learn how to be one. We're gonna celebrate one another. And guess what? I'm frying the chicken in this room. So let me fry the chicken and you just pay attention to what I'm asking y'all to do. And they both bought into it. But the same thing has gone on. It's a foundation, a culture has been laid in that room with those two that James bought into. I tell James all the time, it's a marathon, not a sprint. We live in such a microwave society, and when these kids come out of high school, they think, well, I'm automatically going to jump into college and be successful. No, you got to work. If you come to Ohio State and you're in that running back room, you're going to work here because I ain't giving you nothing. You're going to work. So I think that has a big part of what happened in that room. I challenged both of them to work, and I told them that if they listen and trust me, good things are going to happen. And they played as one. Both of those guys played as one. The same thing I'm telling the guys this year. Number one, you're going to play special teams. If you don't want to play special teams, you need to go somewhere else because you're going to play special teams here. If you're not in the rotation, you got to play special teams. You want to play ball, play special teams. But those two bought into it. These guys, the coach in the room is set up. They bought into, helping one another, hanging out one another. True, like that Ohio State brotherhood is real. Like I'm talking about that's real, and that's how I'm able to manage that room. Because like I said, I'm the biggest personality in there. So I tell them all the time, look, you're gonna do it my way. I'm frying the chicken, you just let me fry it.
So I always say you and Coach Hart got the toughest job because you coach a position where everybody wants the ball, and you got to convince your guys to block. You got to convince them to go out there and play teams and do all those things. And you were a guy who played running back. Who was the guy that you looked at that you admired growing up? Who was the running back that you looked at that inspired you that you try to emulate a little bit?
That was easy for me. That was old Hawkeyes. That was Tony Dorsett.
Nice.
I love him. Actually, I wore number 33 in college. That's who my Uncle Ray introduced me to when I first started watching football and listening to Howard Cosell on Monday Night Football. I'm old, man, so I've been watching this game a long time. But I fell in love with Tony Dorsett. I had a chance to meet him. Things that really matter you can recall. I met him at the Blue and Gray game, which his son Anthony was playing in Alabama at the time. So I was sitting in the stands, and my uncle like, there he go. And I looked up, it was him. And I got a chance to shake his hand, sign, gave me his autograph. I still got the piece of paper that he gave me. But I'm talking about I was a big time Tony Dorsett fan. Love Dorsett. And so that's the reason why I ended up playing the position, the reason why I wanted to play the game. But that was my hero.
I got a two-parter because I absolutely admired this about Q and Trey, and then I want you to talk about Q up at the Browns, but they were probably the most fiercest blocking running backs I've ever seen. And it goes back to like you can champion one another, right? Be excited for one another when you score, you have a big run, and we saw that. That was amazing. But the way they blocked for each other, the pass to Jeremiah and Trey coming up, boom, sticking a dude. I mean, they were physical blockers. How did you instill that in them? That's question one. And then question two, talk a little bit about how you feel Q's going to do with the Browns because this is an Ohio show.
Well, I'm going to answer the first part.
Do it.
They block with passion. If you go back and look at all my guys that I had that I blocked, whether it was out there Oregon with the guys I had, their coach don't play. I demand it. I demand. I tell the kids all the time, you're going to take on my personality. You're going to take on my personality. You're going to be around me enough. You're going to probably get to I put Bucket Irvin on the phone call with Trey and Q, and he started mimicking me. What's your teacher progression? He started saying all the things to them, like and you're gonna take on my personality. So I think they bought into my personality. I do have an aggressive way of coaching, but if you ever come out there and listen to me, watch me coach, I don't curse at my guys. No, I don't. No, I ask God for one word. That might be me saying damn every now and then. But other than that, I don't curse at them. I coach them with passion. I coach them from my heart. But I coach them aggressively. And they take on my nature. And my boys say all the time, they know when I'm mad and I'm upset. They say, Coach, when you start saying boy, once you get time, we know you kind of upset and angry. But I think Trey and Q played with such aggression because that's the way we attack the field every day. And they were passionate about all the small little like the detail things. Me harping on how they carrying the ball, how their hands are fitting up on linebackers. What kind of linebacker they're going against? Is this guy a guy that's like the bull rush? Is this guy going to like work his hands? Is this guy a guy who plays with the mind, or as I call him, rhino? He's just going to try to ram it. Now, both of y'all former backers. You got guys that's rhinos. You got guys that I call cheetahs who can go side to sideline. Or you got guys that I call elephants who are very intelligent linebackers who can either run through your face, use your hands, and they can think the game. So I break backers down in that way. And I think they just bought into it, and I'm glad they took on my personality because it made me look good. But those guys are hard-nosed football players regardless anyway.
All right, Coach, we got one more. I'm going to get you out of here on this. From the South, from Alabama, coach at Florida State, you're at Memphis, high school coach, you were at Oregon for a couple of years prior to coming here, Western Kentucky. Was there something over the last year as you got to Ohio State that, I guess, what was the thing that maybe you didn't expect or something that surprised you or just something that maybe you weren't aware of or familiar with when you got here?
The passion of the fans. Like it's like I can walk in Columbus and somebody say, "Hey, Coach Lock, can I take a picture?" That threw me off. People know who I am. It's the passion of the fan, and I truly love living in Columbus, man. It's one of the best cities. I tell people all the time. I didn't know anything about Columbus. I'm from Montgomery, Alabama, and I told my wife, she like, you want to stay here, don't you? I like, cause every other place I ever been, I always leased. I never did buy a house. I got to Columbus. I bought a house immediately. I bought a house immediately. I told Coach Day, look here, buddy. Hey, I got to stay here with you. I don't want to go nowhere. This is where I want to be at. And but I remember telling people this, man. I didn't know Coach Day. I knew nobody. Like, I'm not from the street. I knew nobody. And Coach Day to come out, I got to tell everybody, man, I don't have no big name like the rest of these guys in college coaching. Nobody knew me. So for him to reach out to me and say, "Hey, look, I want you to come coach here at The Ohio State," I was blown away. And for him to take that chance on me, along with some of the other coaches, though, because Dan Landon took a chance on me. Not only Dan Landon, but Tyson Hill. These guys took a chance on me, man. But just coming here to Ohio State and seeing what it is to be a Buckeye, man, I was blown away, man. And it's crazy because I read a quote by Oprah Winfrey often, and this she said that I kind of believe that each of us has a personal calling that's as unique as a fingerprint, and the best way to succeed is to discover what you love to do and find a way to offer it to others in form of service. That's what I get to do here in Columbus, man. I found a passion for people, and these people they love Buckeye football. I love when they say OH, and I'm able to say IO. I go around town saying it. So that's the thing that blew me away. There's no place like Columbus. Nothing. Even with all the pressure, the expectation for us to win, I'll take it. Because there's no place like Columbus, Ohio. No place. There's no place in college football. I'm from Alabama. I'm the biggest Alabama fan in the world. It's not like Columbus.
All right. Coach, I love it, man. I told you like 15 minutes. We're at almost a half hour. I could talk to you all day. You're on vacation. Go enjoy your time. Enjoy your family. And we'll catch up when you get back.
All right. Appreciate you guys for having me, man.
Appreciate you, Coach IO.
That's right.
There he is. Gosh, Coach Locklyn. All right. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll break all that down here on the Bobby Carpenter Show.
Creative, experience, results. That's what drives growth. That's what builds brands. That's Lake Spur Marketing, a full-service agency built on trust, strategy, and performance, not fluff. From bold strategies to flawless execution, every campaign is rooted in smart planning and driven by clear goals. We don't chase clicks. We build partnerships. We show up, dig in, and deliver every single time. Lake Spur Marketing. The proof is in our partners.
Well, before you go on, I want to tell you about our friends over at Export. Attention parents and athletes, protect what matters most with Export mouth guards, trusted by professional athletes, designed by NHL team dentists. Export mouth guards are scientifically tested to help absorb those high-impact hits, protecting both your teeth and your brain. Export mouth guards feature 3 layers of advanced protection, including a patented use of carbon fiber. They 3D print that bad boy right to your grill for more protection, better performance, max comfort, and clear communication so you can focus on your game, not just on your gear. Don't take chances with your safety. Visit exportguards.com/Bobby to save 15% on your order. Export, protect what matters most. All right, Schlegs, that was a long deal. I want you to give your I could have talked to him for 45 straight minutes, and he's amazing. That's why I was like, I want to get Coach Locke on because I love the way that he coaches. I love his passion for Ohio State, and for a guy that's from Montgomery, Alabama, who played at Chattanooga. It seems like this guy is from Middletown or pick your Columbus High School, Cleveland, Toledo, wherever. I mean, he could be from here with how much he loves it, minus his little accent.
Yeah,
big takeaway,
dude. So many. One, I got to get to know him more, Bob. Which moving back, I probably will. So that's that's one of the things I want to do. No, I just love his passion for serving. He said it before the show. We were talking about, like, you know, he's constantly working. Like he's up there. He's talking to his guys. You know, he's thinking about how does he get better. He's thinking about, you know, how does he help Coach Day? Like he's just like he's working all the time. But it's not work when you're passionate about it. It's kind of one that whole, you know, if your players are soft, you're soft kind of mentality. Totally buy into that. If you show me your sacrifice, I'll show you God's blessing. And he was thinking too small. I think that sometimes people forget that, right? It's uncomfortable to think big because of the sacrifice and the things that's required. Josh Storms, know him very well. One of the early guys that bought striking machines when he was at Memphis. I mean, hell, that was like 9 years ago when he first got them there. So I got to hit him up and talk about it. Faithful through the process and surrendering the outcome. That's a big one because I think so many times we're so goal-oriented, we forget how much the process helps that, and we want to go achieve that, but we don't live in the moment. And how that's kind of how you teach these guys, these five-star guys, this room that's full of high-level talent, that it's the process. Surrender the outcome. I'm cooking the chicken. I like how he said that. I'm the one cooking the chicken, right? Just trust me. I got it, right? Because it's limited, man. There's limited reps. There's one football. I'm cooking the chicken. I got you. Like, and I care about you, and I'm going to coach you hard. I mean, if you really think about it, that a guy that sits for 2 years at Ohio State, even 3, and then gets that opportunity, he's been developed that entire time with that much passion. He's going to have success when his number is called. And I love the fact that he said it's a microwave society. Never heard that. It's instantaneous gratification. And it's something that we got to, that's why that they're reading that book of Chop Wood, Carry Water. It's about the process. And really that resonates right now in this age where we're talking about recruiting, Bob, all those different things. Like that makes a lot of sense. And I think that he articulated it perfectly.
He does. I'm having my kids read it, and love to. I can't wait to talk to his twins about him as a dad too, because the way people coach legs is the way that they parent. Now it's a little bit different when it's your kid and everything that's going on, but he dives into, all right, we got to take another break here because we went so long with Coach Locke. So we're going to take another quick break. We got back. I'll give you some of my takeaways, and
I can't wait to hear
a little more from Coach Locke here coming up next. And welcome back in the Bobby Carpenter Show. And if you're watching it, please like, subscribe, leave your questions, comments. We always appreciate it. Get active in the chat. Do whatever you can. We love to communicate and build this out. And I feel very privileged to be able to bring. And Coach Locker texted, and I was like, man, that was great. He goes, I hope it was good. People liked it. I didn't embarrass the program. I go, no, man, the people.
You're amazing.
I was like, people love that. Like they love to hear somebody who is from Montgomery, Alabama, that's as passionate about Ohio State as he is. And passionate about coaching young people. And that's why I asked, threw that in there, like him and Heartline coach the positions that are arguably the biggest ego guys you're going to have, the running backs and receivers, because they're the ones that want the ball, that want to be able to do things. And that's not a bad thing to have ego, because you believe those guys are game changers, because they are those positions. But convincing them to be able to go block for your teammate. And that's why I said, you look at Trey and Q, you watch those guys block for each other. You watch them block for their quarterback. I mean, they're throwing on dudes. And so I said, right there, that's a reflection of their room. You watch Heartline's guys going out there blocking. They're playing on special teams. Like, and they're not just out there running around. I mean, they're making plays. And so that to me personifies like what you want to be as a coach on the field and how you relate to them. And that's why I love talking with different recruits. I was like, hey, man, congrats. You got this guy. He's like, I don't care. He's like, man, when I was at Memphis, just give me guys. Give me guys. You go, I'll show you how good of a coach I am. I will develop these guys into the players that they need to be. And so that's why I was like, man, I need to get him on here at some point, and I want to try to be respectful. And they got camp. And but just to be able to hear his story, and he would work all night. And then people talk about loving the game. Like, do you love what you do? Do you love it enough that you would do it for free and work another job.
Yeah.
And like literally get 4 hours of sleep, and you're driving like 30 minutes to go do it at a job. Not that like you're the high profile guy. You are the guy in there, Schlegs, that is low man on the totem pole. Like you're just give me a rack, give me these guys. And you know what he took pride in? Like the small details. Coach Norvell wants them to yell third down. I'm going to yell third down, be the very best at it. It reminded me, I spoke at the 2nd and 7 camp the other day, and I was talking about stacking cards. So, dude, that's life is stacking cards. Every day is a card. And you know what? Doesn't look like much after one day. You stack down 52 good days in a row, and all of a sudden, like 10 weeks later, you got yourself a full deck. Do it again. You do it again after like 10 years. Well, now you got a huge stack, and someone else probably only has like 2 decks stacked. And so it said like Tom Brady, when he was talking, Schlegs, and we think we played some of this, talking to his dad, I'm not getting many reps. The starter gets 10, the next guy gets 4. I'm getting like 2 every other period. He's like, well, make those the best 2 reps you absolutely can, because if you can't be trusted with 2, you can't be trusted with something small. You'll never be entrusted with something large. So that to see that with Coach Locke and to hear, his passion for that, like that's why you have the type of guys that you had, and that's what he's going to instill in them. I love the fact that he loves it here.
Oh yeah.
Once you get to Columbus, people really like it. They enjoy it because they're in other cities. Like, man, everybody here is pretty pleasant. A lot of things, a lot of positivity. But it's, I don't know.
I'll say this. What I think like him and Hartline do really, really well. And you talked about it. Like when you're in the NFL, like those are the guys that want the ball, and you want that. You want people that want to be a difference maker. But he shifted their prism that you can add value without the ball.
Yes.
And that looks at, like, if you look at what Emeka and what Baker was talking about, I'm like, we could plug and play this guy. So adding value could be my football acumen and knowing how I could play every single position so I can add value to the team. I can be a great perimeter blocker because I can set up a run. Remember Evan Spencer on like the home run hit with, the 85-yard through. That was Evan. That was Evan, right? Like he led the way on that. Like that adds value. You don't have to add value to a team with the ball in your hand. It's all the other things that you do, from blocking and knowing what you can do and how to add value, that culminate to when you do get the ball, you can go then produce. I think they do it, and I love the way that he coaches, and they know when he's upset, because I started calling him boy. I love it. Hey, and the reason why people love Coach Locke is that he's authentically him.
Yeah.
He's him. And you know what? Here's the other thing. He is loyal to Ryan Day. And I think sometimes this gets lost. And I don't want it to get lost because everybody has this in their own businesses that they work for. Like his goal and mission is to make sure that Ryan Day is the best head football coach in college football. And how does he do that? By being the best running back coach in college football and supporting his leader in Ryan Day. Like, boom, great lesson for all of us.
Absolutely. And I'll leave you this, Evan Spencer, the block. You talk about that. And that's the guy who was tasked with throwing the reverse to Michael Thomas, which is a touchdown. And then ultimately in the game deciding play at the end of the game, gets two dudes.
Yeah.
Blocks the linebacker, hits him into the other one. There's the seam. There's 85 yards. Ball game, you're playing for a national championship. And so you have to take pride in the little stuff as well as the big things to be able to get it done and to be able to develop that trust. Yeah. Something you can take some pride in is your Buckeye gear. Our friends over at Backer, BCKR.com, brand new to the gear game. They've got unbelievable stuff. You want to go check them out. That's BCKR.com, from their cold gear, their wet gear, their windbreakers, their hats. It's all the high-end fishing, hunting, golf equipment that you love, that now it's going to be able to be where it's sports apparel. So go check it out, BCKR.com. When you check out, use promo code all caps, BOBBY, Bobby, for free expedited shipping. And a portion of the proceeds goes back to Ohio State's NIL. So you're supporting the program. It's a premium product. It comes with a premium price, but go check it out. I promise you'll love it. BCKRbacker.com. We got headlines coming up next.
Create it, experience, results. That's what drives growth. That's what builds brands. That's Lake Spur Marketing, a full-service agency built on trust, strategy, and performance, not fluff. From bold strategies to flawless execution, every campaign is rooted in smart planning and driven by clear goals. We don't chase clicks. We build partnerships. We show up, dig in, and deliver every single time. Lake Spur Marketing. The proof is in our partners.
All right, Schleiks, we don't have a ton of time here, so I want to stick with something here with Urban on luck. If you can pull that up, Pat. And Urban has a lot of stuff that he'll throw out there, and Ryan has kind of continued to grow on it. Trusted some. It's all about development and everything else. But it was pretty amazing that he has said this. It's something he said for a long time, Schleiks. He said, "I've yet to be in a game where luck was involved. Well-prepared players make plays. I have yet to be in a game where the most prepared team didn't win." And I would say that holds true in life. You look at Coach Locke, like, be prepared for your opportunity. When you get it, maybe the door got closed, you could have got discouraged, but your team is prepared. Your players are prepared. You're prepared for an A-gap blitz on a 3rd and 7 when you're throwing the ball 40 yards down the field and your running back comes up there because they practiced it a million times. And so I'll give you a minute or two on the most prepared team as opposed to luck, because there is some bounces of the ball. But if you're prepared, generally you hand it better than anyone else.
Well, I should have said this about Coach Locke. One thing that I appreciate that he does too, and he talked about, like, I'm going to develop my guys. Like, that's where the real coaching happens. The fact that he's only been in the game for 8 years, Bob, and that he's still hungry. It's like, he just got there when you've had other guys that potentially have been in the game for 10, 15, 20, 30 years, right? Like, it can reinvigorate a staff by the way that they coach. Don't ever take that for granted of how he's adding value, not only to his players, but also to the staff. With Urban, and you're talking about stacking cards, that's greatness is the accumulation of great days. And he's absolutely right. Like, he was always fanatical about finding somebody that's backdoor slider. And he was alluding to, a home run, I think it was like 1988 Dodgers. And he was like, hey, full count, this guy's going to throw you a backdoor slider, boom, home run. It's like that nugget. That's the preparation that he's talking to. Not only the things that you do in your individual position groups and what you do as a unit and what you do as an offensive unit, but it's about the team in totality, special teams, offense, defense, time management, all those different things, the hidden yards that we talk about. That's the preparation that is required to win. And when you have those losses, right, when good is good, it's the fundamentals and the most prepared team wins. And if you have that mindset, you're never going to leave anything to chance, because you're so fanatical about it. And that is what we heard from Coach Locke.
All right. That is our headlines, brought to you by our friends at Lake Spur Marketing. It's a full-service marketing agency built on trust, strategy, and performance. The Lake Spur team shields you from the unwanted outside noise, the cold calls, the things you don't want to handle with your business, and allows you to do what you do best, work on your business. They have over 100 years of combined experience. They deliver on budget and they eliminate the waste. They're going to do a great job for you. So go check them out. They don't chase the clicks. They build the partnerships. Lake Spur Marketing, the proof is in their partners. We have our tailgate talk brought to you by Real Truck coming up next. Welcome back into the Bobby Carpenter Show. And Schleiks, there's some talking in the chat. You were talking about Kurt and the backdoor slider and everything else. I'll give you a quick Kurt Gibson story as some of the questions are starting to come in. Kurt Gibson, do you know where he went to college?
You go to Michigan State?
Went to Michigan State. Played wide receiver there as well.
I can't believe I knew that.
The only reason I know this is because my dad told me the story during his time at Miami, Ohio. His first 3 years, they went 31-1-1. They tied Purdue 10-10, and they lost to Michigan State, I think, 14-13. He goes, we're leading. We're playing on turf. We'd never played on turf before. Hence, the most prepared team wins the game. He goes, Kurt Gibson runs an out. Our corner trips out of his back pedal, falls down, catches the ball. Kurt Gibson runs down the sideline for the touchdown. He goes, we lose the game. That's the one game I lost in college in my first 3 years. And I'd never put together, he said Kirk Gibson, that was the same dude that hit that home run until I started talking to him about it. And he's like, yeah, who did you think I was talking about? I don't know. Why would I have thought some guy you played at Michigan State? I didn't realize that he played football too. That's why he was tough. And that's why being prepared, they'd never practiced on turf Schlegs. And so he goes, tripped out of his back pedal, fell down. And all of a sudden that happens. Looking around here, Schlegs and some of the stuff, there's a lot of obviously great stuff with Coach Locke. Just a lot of really praise, not a ton of questions. They talked about his inspiration. We brought that up earlier,
Tony Dorsett.
And everything that was going on there. Oh goodness. It's one thing he said, the more he talks, the bigger smiles become. And that's probably from us. And the reason that's the case is when you hear things from someone that you inherently believe that you've heard from coaches and other people around you, Schlegs, I think it just that makes you smile because you know everything's in a really good place.
Yeah, I think, well, let's not kid ourselves, guys. When we all get to talk about things that we like to do and love to do and are passionate about doing, we're going to smile when we talk about it. And he's just really giving everybody a glimpse into the thing that he enjoys waking up to do every single day. And when you get to talk to other people about it, it just validates the fact that you're doing exactly what God called you to do. And you're going to smile. And then you got people in the background, like, talking to him. And guess what, man? Like, he's giving us his time to share with you guys everything that he's doing at Ohio State. Pretty special.
Absolutely. There is one question here from Phil J. Schlegs in the chat. So who's y'all's favorite coach from either Ohio State or the NFL? And it's really tough. Like I try to remove head coaches, from it, like the guys that I worked with every day. I really enjoy, and I'll just stick with position coaches. Like obviously Coach Fickle and what he was able to do for me at Ohio State and you as well. And then in the NFL, there was two guys that I really particularly liked. Paul Pasqualoni, who I did not like at the time, but his relentless execution and attention to detail was absolutely tremendous. And then my linebacker coach in Detroit was Matt Burke. So Pasqualoni, I was in Dallas. Matt Burke was in Detroit. And two guys at the end of the spectrum. Pasqualoni was in his 60s. Matt Burke was 5 years older than us, Schlegs. And then he went and coached AJ afterwards in Cincinnati for a couple of years. And now he's the DC for D'Amico Ryans down in Houston. But he did such a good job of relating to players and explaining the why everything was important and solving all your problems. Like you asked him a question, he was going to solve it. And some coaches, you sound like that's easy, but there's a lot of coaches that don't know. And he was such a smart guy that if he didn't know the answer, he would find it right away.
Yeah, I would say, since you already said Fick, I really enjoyed Haycock. It was great to see him at the governor's house the other day. But I did. I thought he did a phenomenal job. And I don't know. He was like, I heard you were talking trash about me. I was like, no. I was like, you held me accountable. Even though it was probably wrong at the time, but you knew your players and you could do that to me. And I was like, I just appreciate you. I appreciate you, man. I thought you did a great job. And we had a great defense that year. And I think in the league, I'm going to go with this. Like, I feel very fortunate that I had my opportunity in Jacksonville when I did. But Tosh Lupoy, who's at the DC at Oregon, really freaking good football coach. And then guess what? Some of the other guys that I really cared about, Joe Cullen, he's with Kansas City. Love Joe. Great dialogue, great dynamic, talk ball all the time. But I mean, two of the other guys are here in Tyler Bowen and Walton. And then Ash is the D coordinator at Notre Dame. I'll tell you what, like
Shoddy's the head coach for the Cowboys.
And Shoddy's the head, and I love Shoddy. I mean, I would say this, like when you're a player, it's just a little bit different because I look at the teaching aspect, but then when you're a coach and I get to watch these guys coach their room and instill certain things in them and how fanatical even at that level they were for their guys. And like, even with Tim and Chris were great because you got to remember, like DBs, it's just different, man. The volume that's on there, getting to Sunday, they're doing 7,500 yards in a game, a lot of high-speed distance, just that dialogue. And they took care of their guys without making them soft. And that's what I always appreciated with them. And two of them are freaking here at Ohio State doing a hell of a job, and I absolutely love to see it.
All right, Schlegs, we're going to wrap up the show with your boy and getting a late night phone call
Right.
from one of his former players as we wrap up the show with Schleg's parting thoughts next. All right, welcome back into the final thoughts of the show. Pat, why don't you throw on up our guy Shotty getting a call from Micah Parsons. We're talking about it.
What up, Coach?
What you doing, man? You all right?
Yeah, I just wanted to say goodnight.
Okay. I love that, bro. What's going on? Y'all good?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I just player to coach, just checking in on you. Them too. Say goodnight. Hope fans well. See you Monday. Excited about next week. Just a good night.
Gave you a phone call to tell you good night. What did you think about that?
Well, I was really kind of pissed off with my kids, to be honest with you. I called my son Sutton. I said, "Buddy, you got to look out for Dad. I don't look at these. I don't know these things." But I just thought he missed me, and I literally was like, oh, "That's cool, man." Guy reached out to check in, see what's going on. Then I was like, "Damn." I fell for it. So I got on my kids, my daughter, and I was like, "You guys, I don't do much of that social media stuff." So, but he got me pretty good.
And attention, parents, right? And athletes. Listen, athletes, help your parents because we don't know. We're not on there looking at this. We're not. Maybe we should. Maybe I should start calling you guys at night, Bob. It's like, hey, man, just want to say goodnight. I hope you had a great day. Sweet dreams. Charge it to winning. See you tomorrow, man. Go Bucks beat cancer, right? Maybe that's what we start doing. But yeah, hey, listen, like children, help your parents out, or even coworkers, like help each other out. Or you just continue to do this trend, and then you put it out there in the Bobby Carpenter Show. We'll play you guys talking to each other. Absolutely. Well, that's it for today's show. Big one tomorrow with our guy Brandon Beam joining the fold. You may want to go back and rewatch that Carlos Locklyn, though. It was a very strong 27 minutes out of him. I'm a better dude for getting to listen to it as well. So I encourage you to do. Enjoy tomorrow. Have a great weekend, and we will catch up Friday here on the Bobby Carpenter Show.